Trigger warning, we're going to be talking about rape here for a bit. Skip ahead to this time code unless Tanner doesn't want to put in a time code, in which case skip the rest of the episode, I guess.
Listen, we're not gonna talk that much about it.
There was a 5-minute long rape scene.
So yeah, we watched 1971 Straw Dogs.
Mm.
This movie, why does this movie exist?
Because the guy likes violence.
How did it get a remake?
Because people like violence.
It's a fairly well-known film from what I've seen in my brief deep dive into it, you know. Like I said, it's a very infamous film due to some of the things that happen in the movie, the rape. So I guess it has a bit of a name recognition to it, which would lend to getting remade at some point.
But it's fucking boring. It's not even. I mean, it's a little bad, but it's mostly boring. I mean, let me see if I got this plot synopsis correct with you guys. It is 2 hours long for no reason at all. It's set up that an American astro-mathematician, I don't know if that was a joke, but that's what he said he does, and his wife, they move into a little English town.
The Englishmen are on to it.
I guess. And
no one saw that, but...
something was going on in the background behind me. My neighbors are screaming at each other. Don't worry about it.
Tanner was looking around very cautiously.
And for the first hour of this movie, nothing happens. Right?
It's a lot of setup.
There's definitely well, we're getting acquainted with the characters, the town, and stuff.
Yeah, we're getting acquainted with the characters. The wife I very much do not understand. Because she's acting like she's getting creeped out by these guys, but then she also is very intentionally flashing them.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what the deal with that is. What are we supposed to be taking away from that behavior? Are we oh, she's bored in her marriage or whatever the fuck? What?
I think that's absolutely it.
Yeah, I think that there's definitely a bit of that in there. This is also she's a symbol of femininity, Tanner. This is during the second wave of feminism, bro. So she was just really wanting to express her sexuality, all right?
Sure, but then she acts all offended about it, so she kind of skipped straight to current wave, I guess. And then an hour in, so there is an extended rape scene where. But it's a very confusing one, because she's constantly alternating between resisting and not. I don't quite get it. She's definitely not in it when the second guy comes in and butt fucks her. She definitely wasn't up for that one. And then it never comes up again, by the way.
I mean, it does. There's the trauma going on.
Well, listen, she has fucking flashbacks to it and shit. But it doesn't come up in conversation.
Yeah, why would she claim to be raped? That'd be crazy. That's a joke, by the way.
I don't know. When the husband got home, don't you think... Because she was telling this, hey, we should get rid of these guys. You don't think she could have been by the way, they fucking raped me. Can we do something about this? No, nothing. It doesn't come up. They go to a birthday party or some shit, and for some reason, the fucking party blowers are giving her flashbacks to being raped.
I don't think it's that... I don't think that's what's giving her the flashbacks. I think she just has trauma from it happening, and she's she's just in this very normal setting, just kind of trying to enjoy it, but she can't even do that because the trauma is forcing her to just constantly remember what happened to her.
Sure. I don't think if that is what they are going for, I do not think it comes across very well.
That's definitely what I assume was happening as well.
Yeah. So for the next half hour, she's having rape flashbacks. And then we just do something, and then the plot just switches up completely. The mentally handicapped guy we were introduced to I believe accidentally murders a girl.
Yeah, it appears that it happens on accident. He's just trying to keep her quiet while some people are looking for her.
Right. Yeah. Okay. And then the American dude, for some reason, decides to shelter this guy in his house, and the rest of the movie is just the dude's trying to break into his house and get at them.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I do think that's like the most confusing part of this film. I don't fully understand why he feels the need to like protect this guy so much despite everything that's like happening around him.
I think the big thing is that his masculinity is constantly just being taken into question throughout the entire movie. This is just constantly happening. And finally he kind of reaches the breaking point, and I think it's just using him as an excuse to, you know, present himself as masculine and like, I don't know, make it up to his wife or something. In that regard, it's just like an excuse. He's like, okay, I know conflict is going to happen by sheltering this person, but I want that to happen so that I can, you know, use it to prove myself or whatever. That's how I took it.
I guess I can kind of see that.
Yeah, I can see that as well. There are a lot of themes in this movie that I think the biggest flaw of it is that it really just doesn't take the time to really explore any of them in depth enough for them to really come across as intentional, I think, is the biggest thing for me.
Yeah.
It's very jumbled.
Absolutely. The motivations for the fucking attackers are crazy, too. Like, I get they want to fucking get this guy because he's doing awful things, but, like, you're telling me we're ready to risk their lives for this? Like, what? They killed
Well, so, like, the big thing there was that they were drunk for this whole thing. Like, they were getting hammered in the bar, and they brought a bunch of, like, alcohol with them. So they were just fueled by their alcoholic rage.
You know, the thing that came to my mind as I was watching this last segment of the movie is, first of all, it's not done very well. The action is just god-awful. Literally, it does that thing old movies do, where, like, you know, what the actors are actually doing is, like, they're, like, hitting stuff in slow motion, but then in post they're, like, speeding it up, but, it obviously doesn't look right. So it's terrible. But what I got when we got to that scene, I'm like, oh, okay. This was the thing the person making the movie wanted. Like, this is the idea he came up with and said, I should make a movie and do this. And he wanted to make, like, a cool thing with, like, crazy people breaking into a house and the guy fighting him off and whatever. This was, like, in my mind, from what I'm thinking, is this was the impetus of the movie. And he took that good, like, little kernel of an idea, and then he said, okay, how do I get to there? And then he just bungled all of that. Yeah. He put, this movie needed to be 45 minutes shorter, maybe.
Yeah, they're really just trying to drive home motivations at the start, I think. That was, like, the big thing. But yeah, I definitely get it. It's like the whole point of this movie is just a drive for this, like, crescendo action scene, which is, like, what seemed like they put the most effort into.
Yeah.
I don't think much of the setup has much to do with the action, though. Like, the fact they rape his wife doesn't seem all that relevant in the end.
Well, yeah, it's not even, like, the driving force for him doing any of the stuff.
It's just a thing that happens for some reason.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't, like, literally all the setup for that action scene happens, like, immediately prior to the action scene, where they get drunk and then the mentally handicapped man killed that girl. The hour and a half of the movie prior to that, like, kind of didn't even need to happen. I guess, like, the bear trap needed to be set up for some reason. That was the kernel within the kernel, by the way. The guy was like, what if, like, for some reason a guy was hanging up a giant, like, an elephant trap or whatever the fuck this thing is, and then it snaps someone's head in twain.
I gotta say, the usage of that thing as well was, like, not at all what I was expecting from it.
Yeah.
Like, we had theories throughout the movie, like, okay, this is how it's gonna be used, this is how it's gonna be used. Like, when they started fighting, like, up on the stairs, I thought that, like, guy was gonna, like, fall through the banister and, like, fall in it or something, but main boy just, like, grabs it and just smashes over his head instead.
I don't know. Do you guys have anything else to say about this movie? Because I'm at a loss for words. It's kind of boring. It's poorly done. It's confusing. The plot is, like, 85% had nothing to do with, like, anything else happening in the movie. Like,
I've got two minor closing things. One being, the fucking mentally challenged guy, like, breaks out and just immediately goes to raping the guy's wife or attempting to. What the fuck's up with that? Why does he do that? That made no sense at all. That was so weird. It's like, they're sheltering me and I'm gonna rape this guy's fucking wife because I'm wild. Why? He wasn't even shown to be, like, manic with it like that previously. Why the fuck did he suddenly feel the need to do this? Very weird.
Was he trying to rape her, or was he just attacking her?
I mean, assume he was just attacking her.
Regardless of his intentions, he's still doing
bad either way.
It really doesn't matter what he's doing. He's still assaulting the woman. And then the ending is fucking stupid too. Them driving off to drive him home. Where I don't know where my house is. I don't know either. Fucking so dumb.
I mean, I think that part's fine. The big thing for me is I just don't think it's deserved. Is my big thing there. So overall, guys, what are your ratings for this film?
I think I'm gonna give this one an F.
Yeah.
I don't see any redeeming qualities in it.
Yeah, I believe I can't remember.
It wasn't even like a so bad it's funny or anything. It's just fucking boring.
Yeah.
Her tits were nice, I guess.
Honestly, it was just kind of confusing for the most part, and then suddenly the action. I actually thought the action was relatively entertaining. I don't like the motivations for it happening or like the presentation of it particularly, but it was definitely entertaining. I think they sold the like the home invasion thing pretty well at the very least. Just with like the sound design of what's going on, it definitely felt very tense. That entire scene, at least for me, and that definitely helped a lot. Because, that's like the whole crescendo of the movie, and I think it was all right for the most part, outside the...
I completely disagree, but...
I also think that the film does a pretty good job of, like, building tension and stuff throughout it as well.
Anyways, I'm giving it a D. Straight D.
Does it... Mm-hmm. I don't think it's building tension if you just have nothing happen for a long time and then something happen.
Well, like, things do happen, We see like how much like these people are like adversarial to one another and stuff like that. So like okay, something's gonna happen. When's it gonna be though? What's gonna be like the big like driving force that really is the catalyst behind like them fucking throwing down finally or whatever?
It was that cat, that damn cat.
That damn cat.
Why'd it get fucking hung? What's up with that? Who did it? I feel like was the milk scene supposed to tell you who did the hanging? Because I noticed that like one of the milk glasses was like different than the other. So I was like,
no, she just like that was just her trying to subtly signal to the guy to ask them about the cat because he wasn't
beer. They were all drinking beer, and then like one of the beers was different than the other ones.
Oh, I have no idea.
Yeah, I caught that. I didn't know if that was even supposed to be something or not. I kind of assumed it was supposed to be like hinting at who was the one that strangled it. But who knows?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
Yeah, it's tough to say. Yeah, overall, I think I'm going to be giving this film a D as well, personally. Yeah, I don't think that it's like utter shit. I do think that there's some merit behind its creation. But overall, it really feels like an overall pretty confused film that can't really deliver on what it's trying to say very much.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I believe Dylan either gave an F or an F plus. It wasn't F minus. I remember that much. It was either F or F plus.
And then moving on to Straw Dogs here. Not gonna lie, guys, this one was a pretty rough movie for me. Starting out, I couldn't really understand people. Their accents were just a little too strong for me. On top of that, I didn't really understand what was going on. The plot wasn't very clear. I just knew there were these people living in a town. For the majority of the movie, it just felt like I was watching a show. It just kept feeling segmented and fragmented into bits. It was really hard to understand. And just in general, it was boring to watch. There's nothing exciting going on in the scenery. And then some antics and shenanigans start happening. That didn't really pique my interest in any way. But yeah, no, and then really getting down to it at the end, the rape scene, that really drug the movie all the way down for me, not gonna lie. It was just really rough. It was also longer than it needed to be. I don't understand why it needed to be so long. I don't know what movies were like or what was allowed in movies back in those days, but boy, was that sure rough. But Just moving on past that, we got to the ending where it was kind of like a final stand or standoff where like literally all 5 or 6 of those guys die. That was probably one of the only more entertaining parts of the movie. It wasn't enough to save it, but it was still a relatively cool part of the movie in terms of what it was. So my general overall rating for Straw Dogs is actually going to be F+. It was going to be F, and it dropped down to F- pretty quick. And literally the only thing saving this movie was the ending where he was just defending his house. Also, just in general, the acting wasn't too terribly great. So, not a great movie overall for me. So yeah, F+ is where I'm going to stick Straw Dogs.
Okay. Let's say F.
Okay,
I
sure.
guess. So that is 2, 6, 10 divided by 4 is like 2.5. Fucking, I don't know if we should. How do we want to decide whether we're gonna round down to an F+ or up to a D-?
Flip a coin.
I was actually gonna suggest that. I don't have a coin, so I'm gonna Google flip a coin. Actually, let's ask ChatGPT.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, rate Straw Dogs F to S tier.
Let's see.
Oh, hang on. I just listened to like Dylan's little thing real quick. F+ is what he gave it. So
okay,
yeah,
so it's
like
going at D-.
Not quite F, unfortunately. We didn't land
it.
it.
Yeah, too bad, Nico.
We're getting there, man. We're getting there.